Hello, Kent Kruger Biological Channel. This is episode 2 of One Man Cell number 3, a man tortured by crooked lesbian cops. This is what it's all about. And I'm going to take my time on this. I don't care if it takes all night and 3 days to upload. It works better than... Okay, let me push back a little bit. Okay. I was telling you about Carlos Ann Terrell. Died in March of 2013 after shooting herself in the head after she saw me returning from the blocker burn unit, which the gossip circle around here said that I was going to die. And as soon as she saw I was going to live, and she was never going to get a leg up on me socially because I come from the most famous family anywhere around here for several counties. We've spent more time on television, radio. There's been more barrels of ink worldwide on my family, and she's a nobody. She's an heiress from Houston, lesbian, who married a cop because his sister was a lesbian, a group of a big bunch of lesbians who moved in this county thanks to my old neighbor Sammy Bird, etc. So let me get on with it. I'll come back. Trust me, I'll come back. I'll tell you the whole fucking story. I'm trying to, in this episode, to get you to understand what it's like to be tortured in America. I'm going to repeat that. Tortured in America, not some other country. Torture in America is the worst. Trust me, Americans know how to torture people. So, as I said before, I had a conflict with this Carlos Ann Terrell in the spring of 1996, and then late in the fall of 1996, she and her lesbian buddies, plus the mayor of Bryan, Texas, tried to commit multiple felony aggravated perjuries against me, which they didn't know that being a broadcaster, I know the law. And you assholes up in Massachusetts keep trying to tell me the law. No, if you have the intent to broadcast, you can record anything, anywhere, as long as it's in a public invite, except for like a courtroom or any federal space that has a sign that says up, screwed to the wall, says no recording allowed. For years, I always carried one of the Sony Reporter voice-activated recorders in the front pocket of my jacket, whether it was cloth or leather or whatever, because you weren't going to say shit to me without me recording you. And you weren't going to talk to me on the phone without me recording you. So this psycho bitch, Carlos Ann Terrell, who later shot herself in the head because that's what she deserved, and actually asked my best friend and attorney, Bruno Shimek, to be her guardian. And Bruno said, Your Honor, the judge, I can perform my professional duties, etc., but I need to remind you that I represented Thomas Kent Kruger in the frame-up that was set up by Carlos Ann Terrell and her associates. So it just wouldn't look good on paper. Find somebody else. So on October 6th, I think it was, I went to Austin, did a television show, stayed with friends, did some research, returned around October 8th or 9th. I'm not going to go digging into the... When I got home, I had found that the Independence Narcotic Task Force had raided my home, and on the inside of my home, they had stapled a list of seizure items, etc. When I'm going like, bullshit. You didn't have any sort of reason to do a narcotics raid on my house. And even then, they still... And when I was arraigned in front of the Honorable Judge Margie Thetford, she said they charged me with 2 counts of retaliation, which means making threats against a witness, which in this case was 2 witnesses for cops. And I was laughing, I was chuckling, I said, and Margie Thetford said, "You understand, Mr. Crew, that there are no other charges pending against you right now?" And once I got into jail and got some access to phone and stuff, I called my friends and said, "Look, if you're going to put me in jail, you got to charge me for, possession of marijuana." They were trying to make me look like some kind of a violent cop threatener. I was charged in 1996, October of 1996, with 2 counts of retaliation against a cop that had lied her ass off. And because I'm a former officer, they put me in one-man cell number 3, Brazos County Jail, which is built for juveniles, which is now over 70 years ago. Those bunks weren't even 5 foot 8 inches long. I always had one leg hanging over, digging into the steel. And when they take you in, when they do intake, they ask you about your I came in with medication. I came in with my PTSD. I'm a soldier, as I told you. Private contractor for the feds. That's what the whole last live stream was about. I came in with a few weeks of brand name Xanax, and that was it. And I told them all of my medical problems, and they go, "Oh yeah, we'll give you another bed." But actually, both of those beds had been slit open to look for contraband. So both the beds that I was sleeping on were like just giant pallets full of rocks. And the doctor there, Ronnie, some Indian bitch, tried to prescribe me Klonopin, which I told actually it was a shrink that, I'll get to that later. But now I told them I had flicker sensitivity. If the light flickers, I'm going to have trouble. And they put me in the one cell in a jail, Brazos County Jail, which normally they replace every flickering light the moment it starts to flicker. But they put me in one-man cell number 3, the Jesus cell. And trust me, I'll tell you later how I marked that room up. And right above me was a 6-foot curved, it's a U-shaped. There's 2. They leave them on 24/7. For you fuckers that don't know anything about torture. Not only was I kicked in the feet and the head over, actually more than 1,000, close to 2,000 times, because the officer's bathroom was right next to it. And if I tried to get any rest at all, like getting on the floor off of those beds, they would kick me in the feet, which doesn't feel good. And above me was a flickering fluorescent lamp, which already anybody who knows anything about fluorescence and glaucoma and diabetes, a 60 hertz lamp that's actually flickering at around 10 hertz. It just fucks you up. Every day was an endless battle, and I would save my mashed potatoes, etc., and I would save Actually, I came in that jail well prepared because they gave me notice on October 9th and didn't come till the next morning. And in my briefcase, which I knew I was entitled to have all my legal and medical papers, I had slipped in subpoena forms, blank sheets of paper, all sorts of things. Because I'm smarter than you fucking cops. You cops are fucking dumb cocksuckers. Every one of you are fucking lesbians or fucking homos. Every one of you. The two cops that came out here the other day, fuck you, you're both homos. I know it. So anyway, almost 11 minutes. I have 4 minutes left. You know, them fucking cops that would insist on the little window being open on my cell all the time, which I beat Sergeant Kendall by using this technique because I'm a genius. Sergeant Kendall, which was the female dyke that ran the day shift, and always wore a cross hanging out in front of her uniform. I knew that she was no Christian. She was no good person. She was a horrible bitch. And I got me and I got the fucking child molester across from me in one man's cell number 4. You know, I start off by going, Sergeant Kendall, Jesus loves you. She came and slammed that door shut. Gave me some peace and stuff like that. But every day, I'm at 12 minutes on this segment. Every day, almost everything was soaked in grease so they could exceed the state minimum for calories. You know, the state minimum for calorie was like 2,800, 3,000 calories. You would get lunch, which was like a Hot Pocket boiled in grease. They would put grease and garlic in your corn. They would put grease in everything. They were just horrific loser motherfuckers. And so for months, because for 4 months I had none of the federally required exercise and no exposure to light. They had an excuse for that, I'll tell you later, etc. They kept me. You may not know that Honeywell has a control system that can control the temperature in every room, and in the middle of winter they kept me at 50 degrees or below with one blanket in one man's cell number 3. I'm sorry, I'm having a little trouble here remembering all the details of my horrific torture in one man's cell number 3, Brazos County, Texas, which Brazos County and Texas A&M has turned into a crock of shit. But my point was, I have less than a minute, is that I would always save my mashed potatoes because they make excellent glue. And I would take manila folders from my briefcase, which they took the briefcase, but they had to leave everything else. And every day, every night, as soon as they would leave, I would get up there and smear mashed potatoes all over that lens that covered that 6-foot U-shaped fluorescent light, and then cover it with manila folders. And then they would come and go, take that down. I'd say, sure. And as soon as they left, 5 minutes later, I'd be spitting on, throwing water on, and gluing them right back up. You're not fucking with me. You're not going to defeat me. You're not going to kill me, you fucking crooked ass fucking cops.